As veterans, we struggle to fit in. Taught to never let feelings win. Lost in a world full of fear and pain. We all have hung our heads in shame. When we look up, we see hands reaching out. There is so much support about it. Comes from above and others around. Please take a hand and rise from the ground. Stand up and fight for your life. Walk away from negativity. Don't give in to strife. Show up for yourself. Find your voice. Keep moving forward. You have a choice. Give compassion for the child inside. Healing pain, let hope reside. Lost you will no longer be. Then you can help set others free. Now speak up and with us share the tools that make pain easy to bear. Advocate for others to lighten their load. Use your voice and join our show. On Coffee Talk with Bryan and Marie, we heal out loud, PTSD to advocacy.
And what's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining us in another great Coffee Talk with Bryan and Marie. How are we doing today, Marie?
I am good to go today. It's a pretty good day. What about yourself?
2 thumbs up, and I'm giving you 2 thumbs up back. We're doing all good on this end as well. It's super excited. We got a fellow devil dog in the background, and we're gonna try to make this happen in 30 minutes. That's gonna be the quickest we've ever done. So we're gonna kind of try to get through this kind of faster than normal, and we'll save a lot of our conversation for when the guest leaves. But before we do, we're gonna still do what we normally do: show some love to a fellow veteran, and that's gonna be. And a lot of you guys may know this person right here because we had him as a guest stick vet. Now, let me tell you, this guy's out there doing something quite unique for the veteran community. He takes our demons and turns them into comics, little stick figures. And then he goes through it all and just breaks it down in such a way that I think everybody can get it. You know what I mean? And he also has it. They have a Discord where you can go over there, and they call it Not a Counseling Session. Marie might be able to speak a little bit more on that part. And
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
I actually have joined it this week a few different times. So they've got a couple different channels for you to go on just to chat. It's called the Stick Nation on Discord. And they've got a couple different channels you go on that are specialty where you can have conversations. They've got just a women's group. They have a arts section. They have a gaming section. And then they also have their Not a Counseling. So their Not a Counseling is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time or 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I joined one of the Not a Counseling last night, and it was fantastic. Basically, he kind of breaks down a Native American warrior ethos type thing, and then kind of has a video explaining his thoughts on that. And then you go on and just kind of chat about it and talk about what you are working through, talk about what your thoughts are, how you are healing, and ask questions and get support and empathy. And it was a really amazing, amazing group last night.
Yeah, and I know one of their biggest rules is staying away from politics, which is healthy for a lot of folks because a lot of people get too torn into the politics side. So I love that
Yep.
that community is not allowing themselves to get tarnished with all that stuff. And, you know, if you guys hadn't had the chance to go listen to this episode, go check it out. He is an awesome dude. And like I said, it is something extremely unique. Like there's no one else out there doing this that I know of that I've ever even seen. So it's just a unique way of putting it, because a lot of us think we need to really break it down Barney head style for us to kind of get it. So, you know, or potato head style, however you want to put it. But definitely he puts it in a way that a lot of people could relate to and understand. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and remove myself and give Marie the show. And she's going to read one of our poems, and then we're going to introduce our guest, and then we're going to get this going. Blah, 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 blah. I can just keep blah, blah. All right, here we go.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm going to read a short poem today from my book. Again, it's available on sliderbabe.com. And this poem, I figured, is kind of perfect for what we're talking about today. Today, we'll be talking about PTSD and overcoming it. And the poem today is called Not Lost. Lost in my brain, feeling insane, not sure of where to go. Yearn to be free. What's happening to me? In a boat I cannot row. Thoughts reign supreme, or so it seems. Where can I find release? Where can I run? This is not very fun. Why can I not find peace? What's that I hear? It's not very clear. Where is it coming from? A pitter, a patter. I feel like this matters. The noise is that of a drum. It's not a loud sound, but it booms all around, a stirring within my heart. The spirit, it speaks. The brain starts to weep for the curtains. They finally part. They show a love there that the brain said was bare, and so I could not see how much I have grown, that I'm never alone, that someone is holding me. The scars that I've earned are lessons I've learned, and I cannot forget. The fact of the matter, I did not shatter, and I will not live in regret. So when I feel lost and my brain feels tossed, I hope these words come easy. You can push through. This is not new. Fear not. I am with thee. Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and introduce our next guest.
All right. So our guest is David Shoup, and I'm excited to have
David Shoup.
So he is a United States Marine Corps combat veteran who served as an infantry rifleman in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, along with numerous other related duties, such as Special Operations Supporting Unit in various locations. After leaving active duty, he began a relentless personal mission to destroy his PTSD and reclaim the life he was meant to live. David wrestled with nightmares, rage, anxiety, isolation, and emotional chaos, but refused to accept that this was just how life is now, despite being told this by numerous combat veteran support groups. Through years of intense study, high-level coaching, and mission-focused action, he built a proven system rooted in psychological science, cutting-edge neurological strategies, and raw battlefield relating strategies. David, I'm going to let you explain the rest of us. So please come on in. We're so excited to have you here.
Let's
Hey,
go.
guys.
Welcome in, brother. Happy to have you on, and excited for you to give us your quick glance. I know we're going to have you back on the show again. So everybody, you know, we're going to get a quick one with them this time. Hopefully we'll do a little more of an extended one the next time. But David, the floor is all yours, brother. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah. First and foremost, Semper Fidelis, Brian. Nice to be with another Marine, Devil Dog. Marie, thank you for both of you guys. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share my perspective on this stuff. But I think the best way to start off before I kind of dive into, you know, what I do and why it's very unique is kind of my background. Sorry, a little tickle in my throat there. So my background really was very similar to a lot of other veterans, right? we get trained so intensely to go off to combats, but our infantry bubbas, special forces, paratroopers, Air Force, whatever, right? We get trained to go out there, but I have not met a single guy or lady for that matter who said, David, I was trained to come back. Let me go through, like, what training are we getting to actually handle and process the things that we experience, the traumatic experiences that we go through, the traumas that we, or whether something happened to our buddies, ourselves, and that kind of thing. And then there's that lack of integration, which I love is a huge focus of what you guys focus on, is that integration through civilian life, right? And there's all kinds of issues there, but that was really where my story started, because when I got back from Iraq, I was not the same.
What years did you serve, bro?
Yeah, I was in from 05 to 13, right? Okay. So I went right in after the Ramadi and Fallujah stuff, and we kind of went through that. What was it? Operation Steel Curtain went by, and the Marines just wreaked havoc in this area, doing what the Marines do best, right? And we came in there into the near Syria and just had to pick up the pieces, right? So it was kind of a pretty volatile area that had basically been blown up a number of times, right? So, but then that was in my Iraq, and then I did a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, when I got out in 13, well, actually, when I got back, my story started really when I got back from my Iraq tours, because I was jacked up, right? I didn't even realize that anything was wrong. I thought this is just normal. No one told me. No one trained us on what to expect or how to handle it or anything. You just get cut loose, and best of luck to you, right? And so that continued for quite some time. I had weapons in every room of my house. I would patrol the outside of my house with a loaded 40 caliber pistol, looking for an insurgent that was never there, right? I went through
doing guard on Camp Pendleton, almost like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was off base with my wife. But yeah. And thank God there was never anybody actually there, because who knows what would have happened. You know what I mean? But this just extreme hypervigilance, nightmares, flashbacks, all of that stuff. And that really started hitting me. I mean, I fought with PTSD for over 15 years, and I call it PTS. It's not a disorder. You're not disabled. It's PTS, post-traumatic stress, right? Let's eliminate the D, right? So that's kind of something that I love hitting that. But, I fought with it for over 15 years. 15 years. I was in and out of the hospital twice. I was ordered into therapy by my colonel. That didn't tip it off that I had something going on, right? When your colonel says, David, you need help, you're like, I feel like this is normal. This is just what everybody goes through. You're like, no, it isn't, right? Battle with suicide and all the rest of it, right? I mean, just like everything that you can. I was doped up by the VA, bottles of pills everywhere, right? I was maxed out on everything. I was in a stupor, right? From all the medication. I had a detox from that stuff. I decided on my own. My psychiatrist, even then, was like, no, David, you can't get off his meds. You need the meds. Absolutely not. I don't need the medication. I can heal myself. And so I was basically in 2013, fast forward 2013, I went through that for 15 years, was on the edge. I'm talking guys like the edge, like something either improves or I'm done, right? I'm done. I was in treatment, intense treatment, once or twice a week for 5 years. 5 years, like in and out of therapy twice a week, in and out of, I mean, it was nuts, right? And 2023, I said, either something changes or I'm done. That's it. Like, I'm not going to continue to live like this. And that's where I drew a line in the sand. And I said, I'm not willing to tolerate this anymore. I'm not willing to accept this anymore. And that's where I developed, Mission Freedom. This is the system that I used to annihilate PTS. I annihilated it, guys.
You use that mindset. You changed that mindset a lot.
It's the mindset. I also rewired myself. That's really what it comes down to. Because if, a lot of people ask me, David, what's the root of your system? Like I worked in a neuroscience lab. I have a background in psychology. I mean, that all helps, right? I traveled across the world to develop this. I actually went to the Middle East again to rewire myself, right? It really comes down to the central core of Mission Freedom, okay? The central core is really, if everything happens in your life because as it relates to PTS and that kind of stuff, because of your nervous system. Okay. Your nervous system is the root for this stuff. Okay. So your nervous system will cause reactions. This is why people think PTS is permanent. They think it will not change because, oh, well, you talk to a Vietnam veteran and you bring something up, boom, he has a flashback. Therefore, PTSD is permanent. The reason why he has that response X number of decades later is because the nervous system doesn't forget. It doesn't forget. If you train something so intensely, right, like an explosion or a death or a gunfight or artillery or whatever, right, you're dragging your buddies out. That's pretty extreme. That's pretty intense. Your nervous system will encode that into your body, right? And that doesn't get forgotten, right? Even if you leave it dormant for 2 decades, you hit that trigger, it'll come right back as if it was there, like as if you never forgot it. But that doesn't mean that PTSD is permanent. It just means that your system was trained very intensely. If you can train something, you can untrain it and you can retrain it. That's the basics of Mission Freedom. Is we're going to rewire the nervous system. Your nervous system is your operating system. It's like a machine inside your body, and the machine will always produce the same outcome until it's changed. It does not forget, right? So
I love the way how you are wording that, because something that the way that I have worded it before is when you're dealing with addiction or when you're dealing with trauma, your brain is a computer. You have to recognize that your brain is a computer and you have a virus. And with this virus, you have to reprogram. You have to get rid of the virus and teach your brain how to reprogram itself. And so I love that you're saying that. Can you kind of touch base a little bit on how you're doing that in your program?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you guys I think the best way to do it is to actually give you guys an example. I'll give you guys an example. I did this when I went to the Middle East, and I didn't go to Iraq or anything. I'm not like that hellbent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like the wanderer that's going to invade Syria by myself or something. But I went to the UAE. I went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. I was like, okay, it's pretty close. It's Middle East, but I'm going to go there to recondition myself. Okay. So an example of what I did. Okay, let me give you an example. So I'm on this bus between the 2 cities, okay, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And I'm driving along. I look off the side of the road through this bus. I was basically on a highway. And there's a building that I saw on the side of the road that looked exactly like a building that had a very negative experience with, let's just say, right, in Iraq, right? And it immediately sucked me back in like a vortex. I almost had a panic attack, and all this crap was almost happened in an instant when I saw that building. Yeah, it triggered me immensely, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I started to fight or flight and all that stuff. My nervous system, boom, went into, oh, we know what that building means. Even though we're not even in Iraq, I'm not in any danger, but it didn't matter because it had been learned. And I thought, hold on a second. So I stopped, okay? I have a system called just stop. You just need to stop the pattern, change your physiology, stop the train from going down the tracks. Just pause for a second. And then I looked at the building and I thought, that's interesting. What else does this remind me of? Okay, actually, the more I look at it, it kind of looks like a building I would see in Nevada, middle of Nevada. If you've driven around Nevada, there's just these empty badlands of these broken down buildings, and Nevada basically has no real meaning to me. It's kind of neutral. That's how I refer to it. Okay, that's a neutral response. But I was like, you know what? The longer I look at this, it actually reminds me of 29 Palms. And I was stationed in 29 Palms. I have a fondness for 29 Palms for some reason, right? And if you've been there, you know what I mean. It's but it's because I associate it to my buddies, the camaraderie, the training, when everything kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? So I was like, wow. Therefore, this building has one of 3 meanings. Iraq, traumatic. This is very negative. It has a neutral meaning, which is Nevada. And actually, it has a very positive meaning, which is 29 Palms. And so I was able to basically develop where I can shift based on how I focus and what I associate it to, entirely new meaning. When I focused on the 29 Palms interpretation, I literally felt good. I was like, wow, that reminds me of my buddies. And, we went to the mountain towns and we were just doing hooking and jabbing. And I loved it and everything. I was a squad leader and loving life, right? Or I can shift to the Iraq, right? So I toggled my experience solely based on my association. So I called it, that was the birth of my association scale, which is a foundational strategy, or one of the strategies.
We just had someone on who talked about this exact same, where you disassociate experience, say you hear booms and bangs, now you associate it with balloons popping or something, just something more that you are more you associate with something that's more you can handle, right? It's not so horrible.
Exactly.
Who you remember that, Marie, that someone was just on? Okay. Yeah. She's like, don't ask me right now.
And listen, guys, what you can do, a big takeaway here is for your audience that they have a connection right now right? This is death. This is danger. I talked to an Army Ranger, and the Army Ranger had this traumatic experience with the door kicking stuff in, things were on the other side. You can fill in the blanks, right? And so anytime he went up to, if the door was locked, he could not open it, traumatic experience, right? It's something so simple. And I was like, all right, let's rewire that. So we reconditioned it. Now it has a new meaning for him. Now the door means there's someone loving me on the other side, just for example, right? But we basically, guys, the trick here is you can intentionally decide a new meaning. And then you lock it into your nervous system. You can recondition it. There's a lot of different strategies for doing that, right? But basically, when you lock in a new meaning and you basically do it over and over again, you celebrate it, you recognize the new meaning, you dismiss the old meaning, and you recreate it. It's going to take time, right? Because that traumatic experience really locked that in, right? That's really intensely kind of ingrained here, but you can, ungrain it, regrain it, whatever the metaphor you want to use, right? And when I work with the Ranger, and he's like, wow, actually, that's right. And we did that over and over and over again. And now literally he doesn't have that negative response anymore. Now it means love and connection and joy and happiness and all these other stuff on, but he intentionally decided what it means. And then we just put it in, you know what I mean? So, it's just, again, like Marie, like you said, you have a machine that operates according to a code. It operates according to what it's learned. But if you learned it, by definition, you can unlearn and relearn. You see what I'm saying? So that's the basics. That's what I did in Abu Dhabi. I've done that with silly stuff with my wife giving me criticism. Now it means love and connection and bondness and just this bond and connection. I literally look forward to my wife criticizing me because I've completely changed what it means to me, right? I've done this with fireworks. I've done this with my kids. I mean, you could do this everywhere. It's not just PTS, right? But that obviously is a big point of emphasis here because guys don't want to be in pain. They want hope. They're not. The big takeaway I do with my guys is you're not broken. You are not broken. You can decide whenever you want to change this. This person that you've created, this person that you live in, you've created it, right? It's a product of up here, what you've learned. But if you created it, you can create whatever you want. Let's do it intentionally, right? Instead of just being a quote unquote victim, which you're not, but like floating along with whatever is given to you, whatever you learn. Let's intentionally decide that. That's the basis for mission freedom. Yeah.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So we have kind of talked about this idea a lot lately that people have no excuse to be alone anymore, right? Because there's so many programs out there. There's so many people out there that are available for you to help you to recognize that you're not alone. And it sounds like you're also saying, well, there's really not an excuse to stay in your PTSD and stay stuck and lost because there is a way to reprogram your brain out of there. And so I like that. I like that. You're like saying like, hey, you are not a victim, and this is something that I've talked to other people before about, like a victim by nature is somebody who can't get out of where they're at. That's a victim. They are stuck. They are lost. They are being victimized, right? But as somebody who is a military member who has PTSD, you're not a victim. There are ways to help you process through what you have been through so that you don't have to victimize yourself anymore. Because that's the reality. If you're out of a situation, so we're no longer being victimized. We are victimizing ourselves when we get stuck in our PTSD and when we get stuck in our traumas. And so I love that you're basically saying like, hey, you've got more power than you realize. Don't stay stuck. Here is the way out of it. And so I really like that's what your focus is.
No, I appreciate that. And that's, one of the basic things that I like to do. I'm going to give you guys another simple framework. I'm going to try to give your audience some actionable stuff like today, right? The basic understanding they need to walk away is there's a series of things that occurs for what they actually experience, right? And if you can go upstream and just be aware of it. Just the fact that you're aware that I am in control of this stuff and I can do things, whether even maybe I don't understand it now, but I can take actions to actually change what I experience whenever I so choose. You have immense power now. You have control. And this gives you freedom and hope, right? From what you used to believe just happened to you. You have no control over it or you couldn't heal. This bullshit of this is the way you are for the rest of your life now. That's so many. We're talking thousands, if not millions of veterans believe this. Millions of veterans believe that this is the way they are now because they've been told this by society. They've been told this by their doctors. They've been told this by the VA. They've been told this by their culture. This is now who you are. That mindset is responsible for the deaths of thousands and thousands of veterans. thousands of veterans because of that simple mindset. How about we do something different? How about we actually change what's causing the pain so you actually just experience something new? Why don't we do that instead? It's very basic. Everything that you experience, that you interpret, right? I'm not talking like pain, like if like a bug bites you, like, I mean, or whatever, right? That's different, right? I'm talking about things that you interpret is the result of one simple thing, and those are your beliefs. Your beliefs. Think about it. How I believe something is how it is, right? How I see something is how I interpret something is a result of my beliefs. Your beliefs lead to your meanings or perceptions, right? Your perceptions will create emotions, which create thoughts, which create your actions, right? So if you want to change your actions or your experience, go all the way upstream. Now you can intentionally change your beliefs. You can decide, why don't I just decide what this means to me now? Like, for example, I used to think of my PTSD and all that darkness I went through as the worst possible thing that could have happened to me. It was the bane of my existence. It was the worst point of my life, and blah, 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 blah. Woe is me, victim, yada, 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 right? Now I see it differently. Now I see it, and I intentionally decided what it means to me. And I decided this is the best possible thing that could happen to me. This is the best part of my life. This is the very center of my power, right? I had a veteran tell me, guy I served with, gosh dang, this guy went through some hard times. I mean, if this guy can go through it, anybody can go through it. He was some crazy intense stuff. And he said, David, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm really glad what happened to you happened to you. I'm like, really? What do you mean? He's like, think about it. If what happened to you didn't happen to you, you wouldn't be on your mission now. You wouldn't be helping veterans get complete freedom. You wouldn't be, I mean, guys, I'm working with the VFW now to get this throughout the VFW. This system needs to get out. This mindset needs to get out, right? And so he said, if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So now I view my PTSD as the best possible, greatest blessing I could have possibly received. And when I have that kind of belief, which I do, it's completely changed my view on it. It can change everything about it because I've changed my belief. You see what I'm saying? It's incredibly powerful.
So as you're talking, I have come up with a couple different ideas of networking that I want to do. And one in particular is we just had a guy named Dr. Damon Friedman on here. And I want to get you guys connected because he's doing they do this whole weekend thing, this whole weekend retreat, taking care of like the whole health of the veteran. And I would love to see you get connected with him so that your framework can get incorporated. So I'm going to get you connected. SOF missions. I think that would be fantastic. I know that we are running low on time. Okay. We would like to have you back on to kind of talk about how you got to where you're at, your childhood, your military service, and all of that stuff. We want to have you come back on to do that. And then also, so we want to have you back on at least 2 more times. So one, to share your story with us, how you got to here. And then a second one to have you create a class for us. We would love to have you kind of like incorporate some of that. So, like seriously, like this has been wonderful to have you on. Bryan is pulling up your social media so we can, if you want to highlight anything on here, and then any other last minute things that you want to share with us, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, I love it. Now, guys, I love what you're doing. I truly appreciate you bringing me on here. I think the main thing that I would like to end on is life doesn't have to be this way for all the veterans out there or their families. Because the spouses are going through it just as bad, if not more, than the veterans, right? Their spouses, our wives, husbands, whoever, right? They are in it with us. They're in the trenches. And number one, life doesn't have to be this way. You can be completely healed. You can be completely free. You don't have to be stuck in this thing, even though you're told this by all the doctors and all this other stuff. So that's number one. That change in mindset will give you hope and will give you the number one thing that I work on in the very beginning is unleashing the warrior of the veteran. You have this warrior inside of you. That's why my company is called Warriors Awakening, right? It's like, it's time to wake up and be the warrior that you truly are, right? So I would encourage everybody to get a copy of Mission Freedom. It's on Amazon. You can go through my website right here. You see it on the screen. It has a complete framework for everything that I really teach, or not everything, but the bulk of it, right? And then also, those of you guys that are listening that have communities or maybe a veteran community or non-veteran community, right? It's amazing. Even civilians or, people that just go through traumatic experiences. I've been approached by people that had traumatic divorce, domestic violence, all this other stuff. They're like, David, can Mission Freedom work for me? Yes, absolutely. We can annihilate any kind of trauma with this system. It's effective for anyone. It just happens to be sculpted more towards veterans, but it'll work for anyone. So if anyone there is listening, says, David, I'd love for you to bring your system to my group or my community or whatever, reach out. I love doing this stuff. This is my passion. I really feel like this is my purpose and why this all happened. So I'm just excited to share it. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, brother.
So we have your social media for people to reach out is at mission.freedom.0311.
Yep. That's the infantry rifleman, baby.
So is that for all of your social medias then? That's going to be your tag? Okay.
Yep. That's my tagline. I got YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram yet. Building out my LinkedIn. It's kind of in progress, but those are the main ones on those three. I got so many training videos on YouTube. That's kind of my hub. I got so many trainings. I'm taking people through it, examples of how to do it step by step, nitty gritty stuff. So if you want a lot of that kind of stuff, all my events that I've done, on stage work, all that kind of stuff is all on my YouTube. So I actually a good spot to start. Website has a lot of stuff too, but YouTube is a great one. Yeah.
That's awesome. You need to get yourself a link tree, man. So that way you can put all your links on one spot.
There you go. Yeah, I'll work on that. Yeah, I'm not that great on the tech stuff, but eventually I'm going to get better at it.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you, brother, for you coming on and taking the time to share your stuff. And we look forward to having you back on again and kind of expanding upon what we just talked about. But man, keep killing it, brother, and doing amazing things. We appreciate your service to our country, and we appreciate the service you're still doing today. And man, have a great day.
Yep. Semper Fi, guys. See you next time.
Semper Fi, brother. All right, guys. Well, now today we're going to go ahead and cut into our Veterans Showcase real quick and take a quick break, and then we will be right back. Let me get that queued up and make us disappear.
Rolling down the window, too scared to get out. How do you say goodbye to someone you thought you couldn't live without? My mind is racing with memories of who he was and how good everything used to be. Damn, it could have been me. How do you choose who comes back home? Who goes under no gravestone? I'm just asking cause it makes no sense to me. Is it something that takes a little time? Does it even cross your mind? Or is this the way that it has to be? Tell me, God, did I win? Oh, why am I here? Is there with you? How do you choose? My guilty conscience preys on my mind as I see the words they wrote after he left us behind. Now I'm on my knees. How do you choose who comes back home? Who goes under no gravestone? I'm just asking cause it makes no sense to me. Is it something that takes a little time? Does it even cross your mind? Or is this the way that it has to be? Tell me, God, did I win? Oh, why am I here? Is there few? How do you choose who stays here, who goes on? I'll never understand feeling this long. How do you choose who comes back home, who goes under no great stone? I'm just asking 'cause it makes no sense to me. Is it something that takes a little time? Does it even cross your mind? Or is this the way that it has to be? Tell me, God, did I win? Oh, why am I here? Is there few? How do you choose? God, tell me, how do you choose?
All right, that right there was Scotty Hastings, and let me tell you about that guy. What an amazing human being. He was shot 10 times while he was over in Afghanistan, and he survived. And through his injuries and stuff like that, one of his hands is really messed up, and it's actually his strumming hand, right? So while he was laid up in Walter Reed and stuff like that, I think he just, through his experience, just chose to keep on living, and he wasn't going to allow for that to define who he was. So he went on and went into archery and the Paralympics, and did really well there. And because his hand was odd and stuff like that, the first time he ever tried it, he ended up just like shooting one on accident because he couldn't even feel it. So, but he ended up learning how to do the guitar. He always had a passion for the guitar, never knew it before. And so he goes with his hand, and what's really crazy about that is there's no one else out there really with his injury that could teach him how to play the guitar with his injury. So for him to be resilient and say, I'm going to keep going, I mean, my gosh, he got shot more than 50 Cent. You know what I mean? I think 50 Cent got shot 9 times. He got shot 10 times. And he's just out there still doing amazing things. And he's been on the show now 2 times. I got a chance to meet him at Hero Stock and watch him perform live. And since the first time he was on the show, he ended up getting signed by Black River Entertainment. And he's been under a label now for, I think he's going on his 2nd year or so. And dude, he's just got to do so many great and amazing things. So Scotty Hastings, U.S. Army veteran, is a very good example, just like Sal Gonzalez, who you guys would have seen his video already. Both these 2 guys had lost their abilities that they normally had, and now they're out there making great music.
Did you just say Sal Gonzalez?
Yeah.
My brain didn't even go. So he works with the Wounded Warrior Project. He was supposed to be a guest with us a couple weeks ago, but we had to reschedule because of everything that's been going on and my surgery. He is actually going to be a guest on here.
You were crying to his song. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. My brain just put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, he's going to be a guest with us sometime soon. So
that's great. I've had him on before. I love Sal. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. So
that is awesome.
That is great. So you guys will get to hear a lot more about how these guys are just resilient, and like I said, so much talent in this community, from authors to singers to poets to you name it. There's just so many great people out there. But so I really appreciate our guest that we just had on.
Yeah,
It's all
I feel so bad that so Brian and I were both running a little bit late. And so we only got to do a half an hour with him because he had a very hard cutoff line. But we are going to seriously have him on a couple more times because we want him to come explain to us how he got to where he's at, the struggles that he went through, and then we want him to teach us a class. And so we will have him back on a couple times. David, or yeah, when I first talked to David Shoup, I was so excited. I can't remember where exactly I met him, but we had this phone call, and this phone call was just so powerful. And he was just like, yeah, I'm destroying PTSD, like we can do this together. PTSD does not have to be something that it's not a disorder. It's not something that we're stuck with. And I loved how passionate he was with that. So I was super glad that he was on here. But again, sorry, David, that we were so rushed.
Yeah, and maybe some of you out there really appreciated it because we didn't interrupt him nearly as much as we would love to, but we'll get the opportunity to interrupt him again, so don't worry. But I just want to tell everybody out there, we on this show, I tend to watch pretty much every recording. I go on to Spotify and download it, listen to it, for a couple reasons, right? And I'll kind of explain to you why I'm kind of going here with this. For one for one, it gives you a number, right? It gives you that listen, that boom, all right, you got one. But for two, it is sometimes we got to show up for ourselves, right? Sometimes we got to be there and support ourselves and what we're doing, right? And you can also learn from yourself. There's a lot of people out there that do not like to hear themselves talk. They don't like, one thing or another, but you got to learn to love yourself. And I'm not saying that arrogant, cocky way of loving yourself. I'm saying you got to be able to laugh at yourself, love to hear yourself talk. I mean, you don't got to be solely like, infatuated with yourself, but you got to have grace on yourself. And like I said, if no one else is showing up, you got to be the one to show up, and that's why a lot of times on my own post, you'll see me like or love my own damn post. Because like if I don't get one like, it's like I'll get mine. You know what I mean? Because and I think there's probably some people out there are like, gosh, that's fucking, that's stupid, and yeah, whatever. That's okay. But I think that it's important that if you want to be a supporter, you need to learn how to support yourself too. Right. And I think that's important that you show up for yourselves when you do things and and whether no one else shows up or not, at least you're there. Just like when you go to your book signings and stuff like that, you still show up every fucking day, whether one person came to get a book signing, 0 came, or 30 came. You still need to keep going, and you need to keep doing it, and you need to keep showing up for yourself.
Well, and that's kind of the same thing with our podcast, right? You just got me thinking. So I think I talked about it before. I went to this podcast class a while back, and they're talking about, well, this is what you do. This is how short you do it. This is what you do. Da 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 da. If you want to get the most likes, and I've had people commenting on some of my videos or whatnot, saying, "Hey, do you want to get more people to listen or to view it, and this, that, and the other?" And I'm like, I'm not doing it for a crap ton of people. Like maybe it's just one person that listens, and if I cut this certain part out, or if I make it too short, or if I do this, that person isn't going to hear what they need to hear. And so it's not about the whole majority. It's about just, yeah, like you said, showing up for yourself, speaking your truth, and then being there for the next person, even if it's just one person, or even if it's you in the future. Like that is a huge thing that I've noticed too. I go back and I re-listen to my stuff, or like my journals. I actually like write notes to my future self. And I will go in there and I'll reread something and I'll be like, "Oh, I really needed to hear this." Or like you said, re-listening to your podcast. I do the same thing and I'm like, Oh, yeah, I forgot that's what I was struggling with. Oh, yeah, I forgot that was something that was a positive thing that happened. And so you go back and you're like, "Okay, this is super beneficial." So I like that you're saying you do it anyway, and it's not for the masses. It's not for the majority. It's either for you or for the one next person who needs to hear what you have to say.
Right. And you know what? If you're not showing up for your own mission, who else is going to show up for it? Right. It's like you got to stand behind your own mission, and sometimes it's hard, right? I think a lot of people get in this weird mindset of like, oh, well, everybody's going to think I'm like conceited or arrogant, or, I think everybody really starts to think about being judged, so it really kind of inhibits them and enables them to do certain things because they're so concerned about what others may think. Like, oh, that's goofy to like your own stuff. Like, says who? Says you? I mean, and why? Because it makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I'm comfortable with myself and I'm okay with liking my own material shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'll laugh at my shit too. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we have to love ourselves. We have to appreciate ourselves. We have to give ourselves grace, and that way you can, like I said, it helps you to become a better version of yourself, and it helps you to learn how to support others and their endeavors as well, right? Because I think a lot of us, the one thing is, right, hey, come support me, hey, hey. And while we're doing that, we're not even supporting anybody else, but we want everybody to support what we're doing, right? You want something, you also got to give it too, right? You give it, you take it. And but the reason also why I'm saying this too is because when I was listening to it, I realized that the audio for the freaking the songs sound like shit, right? So
sometimes it does.
Do me a huge favor. It sounds great on my end, right? So like for me, it does. I don't hear it. It sounds a little more muffled. So please, guys, when you're listening to the songs, don't base the audio off of this podcast. Go to their YouTube channels, go to their Spotify. You will get the crisp sound. I'm trying to figure out a way of how I can maybe do it. I try to do loop back this time on my sound thing, and I don't know if it. I don't.
This time sounded good. It sounded good this time.
Okay,
but
so
sometimes it doesn't.
Right, and that's why I'm like, I don't like that part because I feel like I'm trying to give them due justice. But in the same aspect, if it sounds like shit, I'm not really giving them their due justice on it because their songs sound so much better than the quality that is going from YouTube to this. I don't know. So I tried to do this loop back thing, which is it helps where the transmits the song and stuff back and forth. So hopefully that works. Something that I've been really working on a lot here lately too is the Raise the Roof internet radio station where we play the best 80s, 90s, and 2000 music.
Did you get it going?
No, I've been
okay.
So I'm at the level right now. I have
So Bryan is starting his own radio station. That's what this Raise the Roof thing is.
Yes, it's going to be I'm super excited about it because for me, I've always been into radio, and then I grew up obviously in the 80s. I was born 81, so I grew up through the 80s and 90s, and so I'm just super excited about this. I really have thought about this for a while, and it's a lot more it's a lot more achievable nowadays. They've made things so much more achievable for the average Joe to do things, right? If you're into video and stuff like that, they have great videos out there. They have a lot of platforms out there also that give you the ability to do this, like the internet radio. There's several places out there because in order for you to play CDs or anything like that, to play music, copyrighted music, you have to have the licenses to do it. There's 3 different licenses. It's like a gas cap, EMI, and some other one. There's 3 different places, and because every time their music gets played, they get paid a cent or whatever it may be. There is some kind of a portion that the radio stations are supposed to pay these guys. So if you do host it on like a regular station, that covers the whole thing. You get covered by all that stuff, because it is a little intimidating when you first go into it and you start reading about it. There are spots that make you feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, but that's going against everything I'm preaching, right? Like, keep pushing. There's a lot of times you'll see roadblocks. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the end for you. You just got to learn how to work around learn the detours and how to detour yourself and make it work. So that's all I've been doing, is a lot of researching, and it is the time consuming part so far is downloading the CDs. So I got mad CDs from when I deployed and everything, because fuck, that's all we did in the early 2000s. I was just buying fucking CDs. So like I have like tons of like these and bigger ones full of just CDs, just full of CDs. So I've been doing that. I also had to go like order some CDs online that like give me all the top hits from like the 80s or 90s decade. So I'm kind of not having to sift through all these CDs like I've been doing. But I think I'm up to 86 downloaded CDs, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a
lot.
It's when AI says it, that's about 4 days worth of songs where you never hear the same song over and over. Like it would take you 4 or 5 days to hear that's another, like a repeat of a song. So I'm gonna keep pushing. I think my goal is to kind of get this going. I think I'm gonna probably be more on the June 1st time frame, because I really want to have it. Like, I really want to put it in ready. I don't want to keep evolving and keep doing stuff. Although I will always keep probably adding new songs to the library, so I can always have everything. So eventually when someone's like, hey, I want to request Backstreet Boys or something, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I got it. Boom, here, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's fun. I've been doing a little thought of like, how do I structure the show? So because it's the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, we call it the Y2K. I feel like 80s at 8, 90s at 9, and then the Y2K at 10. And then after that, it will be a lot of mix. And then when you get into the evening time, it will be more of the retro club, like more of the nighttime music. And then after about 10 o'clock, after about 11 o'clock, it'll switch more into like the more of the yacht club, mellow 80s like sounds. You know what I mean?
So you're gonna have it like playing all day.
All day, yeah. Oh yeah, it's
All
a radio
right.
station, and
Yeah.
I will do probably a radio show. I'll probably do a little radio show in the mornings or in the evenings, and then I'll start bringing in other people that want to have like a little slot. If they like 80s, they like 90s, they like 2000. If they like all of them, then they can have a 3-hour slot or whatever. You know what I mean? So you'll kind of start bringing in the ability for someone, if they have a passion like me, into radio DJing, and it's really not that much, man. As long as you got a mic, a mix board, and then there's free software that you download, and then after that, it's pretty well easy for anybody that would want to do a radio DJ thing. And you just have to learn how to cue in the songs and learn how to talk when you can talk. It's whole thing, but I really want to bring back that old school radio, like, because I remember being a little kid riding on the bus, and there was always a lot of little like talk, and then they would play some really cool songs in between their little conversations and stuff like that. And I have a gift to gab a little bit, so
just a little.
Why not do a radio station where you can just talk, a little bit and play some really great music. And dude, when I'm downloading these CDs, I'm like, it's totally bringing me back, like, because I've struck some gold with some of these online CDs. Well, there she goes. She's done. But
Yeah,
nah.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's just something I got going on. Once I really kick it out, we'll push it out there more. Right now, it's more of I'm still kind of like dreaming it up. You know.
I'm gonna say out here for our listeners, if there are any specific songs or CDs that you think Bryan should have on a show, send him an email. Every day's a Saturday, 365 at yahoo.com. Send him
Yes.
an email, let him know.
Love that, because that is perfect, because I do want to try to get, where everybody goes like, oh my gosh, he's got that. Yes. You know what I mean? And yeah, well, so that was a good idea. And I think maybe that's what I'll do on the social media side too, is once I kind of download most of my stuff, I'll kind of ask people out there, hey, you got anything out there that you really, really, really would love to hear?
So I
And
don't remember if they are in the 90s or whatnot, but I think it's no early, 90s and 2000s. You've got to do some Casey and JoJo. You gotta
Casey and
make sure you
JoJo.
throw that on there. All My Life. That's one of my favorite songs. I know how to do that one in sign
I
language.
got some Drew Hill up in here. If anybody
Oh, there you
remembers
go.
from Drew Hill,
Yeah. And there's
I just did some
another
Montel Jordan.
there's another band that's not very well known. Rudiger. Rudiger. Rudiger.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to send you a couple of their songs, but you gotta have them in there. I think they're 90s, early 2000s. But yeah.
Yes, yeah. Send me all the ideas. And if anybody out there's got some CDs that's just laying around that they don't really care for anymore, I'll pay for the shipping and send them here. And that way I can load up this library with as many songs as I can.
You know what would be probably your best bet is go to some thrift stores.
Oh, I've been. No, so
Okay, yeah.
record stores out here. Yeah, I've already gone. It was okay. I mean, I felt like I walked away, I think, with 15 CDs and decent. But where I felt like I really struck gold is on Amazon. And it just has like the decade ones where
Yeah.
I got 6 CDs, 20 songs on each CD, and they're all hits. You know what I mean? So I just got 120 great songs. And then what I'm finding too is now that I'm like doing that is I'm getting a lot of dupe songs because I already have a CD but they're like that one song on there was just a banger, so yeah, we're like I said, it's a developmental phase. I have basically been writing it all down and trying to just, do it all out. I want to make it good. I've been thinking about this for a long time. And it's just also, there's a lot of other things I'm trying to concentrate on. So something I want to talk about real quick is it's hard to keep looking because I keep feeling like I'm going to get sucked into some vortex. But if you look at Marie's background, it's amazing, right? Like, do you feel like when I'm looking at this, I feel like I'm getting like, whoa, because it's just like, you could see the spin. Now, I'm going to let her explain this picture, but this picture is really cool on its own.
So this is called long exposure photography. And so this is a photo out in Alpine, Arizona. And what I did was I basically kind of took my camera and I did you open up the aperture and you open up the shutter speed, or like you slow down the shutter speed. So basically you turn off your shutter and you leave it open and you open up the aperture, which picks up a whole bunch of light, and you have to mess around with settings or whatnot. But basically what you do to be able to get this is you set up your camera where you don't touch it. You have it on a tripod and you open up your shutter and you kind of, it took me about an hour to get this good spot. And so what you have to do is just sometimes if you know exactly where the North Star is, then it's easy. But I didn't know where the North Star was. So I kind of like did one that was over here. And so I saw where the rotation was. And then it was over here and saw where the rotation was. And then I finally got to where the middle was, right? And I held the shutter open for about 10 to 15 minutes every time. This one, once I found the perfect spot, okay, so you've got that North Star here. I got that perfect spot. So then I opened up the shutter for about 4 hours. So the camera is open about 4 hours to be able to get this, and you're seeing the actual rotation of the Earth. And it is so fun. And so, like, if you ever wonder, no, we're not moving, try this experiment. And it is just so amazing. And then down here, you see the light on the trees, and that's actually from the campfire that is actually down here. And so that's the thing, have the aperture open, you get all of this extra light. And in some of my other pictures, you actually see satellites that are like moving across. But I didn't catch any on this specific one. But this is so a lot of people know that I do my writing, but I also do photography. But I haven't done much photography over the years. But nature photography is my absolute favorite. Like I'm okay with shooting people, but I love nature photography. And this picture is actually in my book. And so that's the thing, is in this book, I specifically wanted to showcase my poetry as well as my photography. And so, yeah, so thank you for shouting out, because I love this. This is a lot of fun. And I've been enjoying doing the green screen background, because behind me is just a wall and it's just kind of boring. So sometimes I do my own photography as the background, sometimes just pictures that I like. So
Yeah, I like it. I like that a lot, because at first I had a kid almost look away, because I was like, damn, that's making me feel almost dizzy, because it's like it looks like you're getting sucked into some vortex.
I
But
know,
no,
I
I
love it.
love it, and that's awesome. And once again, this is something that she's done, and part of her form of therapies and stuff like that. And the nature pictures, I gotta say, are probably really cool and rewarding. There's just so many cool things. I love when people even just take like a little like drip off of like a leaf, and then they focus kind of on the actual drip, and everything else around it's kind of, you know, taken out. I just love those kind of nature photos.
Yeah,
Super cool.
I have come to realize, so as you guys know, I have had a journey. I a lot of trauma in my childhood, and then addictions and military and all of that stuff, right? And even when I was that I wrote when I was in high school. And then in the military, I kind of wrote some songs, but kind of walked away from creativity. When I got out of the military, I couldn't really find my voice in my writing, and I just couldn't. And so I was kind of lost in my addictions. But that is when I started with the photography. And the photography was a way that I gave my heart a voice, even when I couldn't write how I was feeling. It's like, okay, I'm feeling a lot of pain, but I want to see the beauty in the world, because there was always this desire to see beauty. And so that is where my photography came from. It's like, okay, I want to see this beauty, even though I don't have my actual voice. I found the beauty in the world. And then when I got sober and I found my voice in writing, I that became my expression. And so sometimes I still do the photography, but other times I do my writing. But photography for me was about that, finding the beauty in the world even when I couldn't feel it.
Love that. I do love
Yeah.
it. And I feel like just when you allow yourself to get stuff off your chest or off your brain, it is rewarding. It is rewarding. And some people do it by having conversations. Some people do it by meditating. Some people do it by art. It's whatever you do. It's just, but the part about that is you have to take time for yourself. And that's where a lot of people struggle, is finding time for themselves, right? Because their time is so dedicated to everybody else, especially a lot of you mothers out there who have kids. You pour your heart and soul into your kids, which is all good, but then sometimes you forget about yourself, and you lose you lose sight of things that you ever wanted to do, right? Maybe you wanted to read books, maybe you wanted to do this. It's important though, carving out time for ourselves.
Can I before we close up, can I read one more poem?
Yeah, we'll go ahead, and that's how we'll go ahead and end this. I'll give you the floor, and then I'll bring myself back, and we'll go ahead and land the plane and get on out.
Okay. So Bryan was talking about kind of that idea of bringing your awareness to the moment. And then I've been talking, we were talking about the photography and nature photography and whatnot. And there's another poem that I wrote that one day when I was sitting out back in October and I was doing some meditation in nature. And I just had this beautiful view where I could see the whole Utah Valley, and it was just phenomenal, and I was just really working on being present and that mindfulness, and mindfulness is not necessarily about completely clearing your mind. It's just about bringing your focus into the moment. And like as those distracting thoughts come in, say, okay, I'm going to think about you later. What is going on in this moment? And so this is a poem that I came up with as I was doing that. And like you can actually tell that, at some point I started, focusing on other things, but then I brought my mind back into it. And it's called The Freedom of Senses. And this it was a homework assignment that I had in one of my poetry classes. And it was, hey, can you explain what you feel with all of your senses? And so this kind of brings everything together. So I hope you guys can find a way to have that mindfulness and evaluate what you feel in the moment. So the freedom of senses. A faint smell of baked goods hangs within the air. The breeze brings it to me as it flutters through my hair. I'm immersed in the sound, the wind crackling through the weeds. I see it causing sparkles in the branches of the trees. As the leaves reflect sunlight, wind causes a slight shimmer. When I'm feeling sad, that vision brings hope's glimmer. The taste within my mouth, another nature's recipe. I just ate an oat bar, a simple hunger remedy. God provides nature to feel with all my senses. I just wish I didn't see so many fences. I love to go into the mountains to have a better view. The sense of freedom it creates helps me feel anew. I see God's fingers in every single element. In Christ's painting, every piece is relevant. The warmth from the sun penetrates from outside in. More potently, God's love radiates within. I'm so very grateful for these experiences, the ones I get to feel with all of my senses. When my mind is in the present, it's felt more intensely. I am connected to everything, even more immensely. I hope when life gets crazy, I can just slow down and take a little time, even here in town, to bring my awareness to the moment I am in. I feel like this is how true freedom can begin.
Outstanding. um I love that. I think a lot of us are so consumed with a lot of things in life, right? And I think it's by design. I think our food is really not the same that it used to be. We're moving way more away from like nature and moving into like tech, right? And everything's more tech, and then takes you away from nature. And even with our food, a lot of the food now is getting to be tech, right? We want quicker, faster, more efficient, but that doesn't always equate to healthiness. So I think that try this sometime, and I just challenge anybody out there: leave your cell phone in the house, take your shoes off. If you got some grass, Go walk barefoot, no cell phone. Just do a couple little laps, like little circles. I actually did that yesterday, and I am not even kidding you. I got the weirdest feeling of goosebumps in my body, like tingling up from my feet all the way up through my it was like almost like I was getting generation from and I whatever you want to say, but I mean, I was tripping out about it, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because it was an amazing feeling because I tried what I just told everybody to do, right? I did that yesterday.
It makes a difference. It
Oh my
makes a
gosh.
difference to just go outside. Like,
And
even
you don't
if you
even
don't
gotta
go
be out there.
anywhere. Yeah.
It doesn't even gotta be super long, right? Like
Yep.
2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Just do a couple laps just in your own little yard, and maybe one day you start off 2 minutes, the next day you go a little bit longer, and then you go a little bit longer. There's a couple things here, you're getting the vitamin D, right? And it's free 99 for that vitamin D. And then you're also, it's a little bit of a reset for yourself. Get away from all this technology and the things that are just overwhelming us. We all got Wi-Fi modems and everything. You go inside your house, it is just an electric waves everywhere, all over the place. So in that cell phone, it's tethered to you and it listens to you. If you don't know that by now, like all of a sudden your Facebook feed and you're talking about speakers and the whole thing is speakers. Come on now. These things listen to us. So I just
Take a step
challenge,
back.
yes,
Take a step
disconnect for a
back. Yes.
second. Just and then if it's like, oh my God, I got to put my phone down for just try 2-3 minutes. All right.
If you are feeling that strongly about putting your phone down, it means you need to.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
means you need to.
100%. Like, it's crazy though. I do feel like a lot of people are very tethered to the phone, and
I am one of
and
them.
why they're
I am one
doing
of them.
shit. Yeah, I'm trying. I have my moments, right? And so I'm not going to say bullshit, but when I do go into more of the public settings and stuff like that, I do try to get off of it and stuff because I'm watching others and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, fuck, man, everybody's just on their phone all the time. And so I'm like, I put mine down.
So one of the things that I have been implementing, which if anybody is interested in trying, before my surgery, I was getting really good at it. And then during my surgery, I kind of went away from it, but I have started doing it again. Before I go into my room for bed at night, I plug in my phone outside of my room. Outside of my room, because when I bring it in my room, I lay in bed and I stare at it. So before I go into my room, I plug it in outside of my room so I could still hear it, but it's like right in my doorway, but it's outside of my room. I go in my room, I do my journaling, I do my praying, I do my reading, and I go to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I have to get out of bed to get the phone because I will seriously sit in bed and bed rot looking at my phone. And so that's something that I did last night for the first time in a while. And I felt so wonderful when I got up. I was like, oh, I didn't stay up for hours doom scrolling. And so I challenge you, if you have struggles where you can't sleep at night and you just find yourself staring at your phone, plug your phone in outside of your room and grab a book instead. And it seriously will help. And then I was just going to say, one of my things too, especially as I've been healing from the surgery, right? I haven't been able to go out and leave the house much. But what I have been able to do is, like you said, leave my phone in my house and go walk around my backyard. And so that's something that I've done is just a couple laps around my backyard. And when I'm feeling better, what one of the things that I like to do is I'll do a couple rounds around my backyard and then I'll sit in the grass and I'll just sit there and I'll just take a second and just look at the bugs that are walking around and I will feel, I call her Gaia, right? Mother Earth, and I will feel that energy. And I believe that's what you kind of felt is like Gaia's energy. Like God provides this energy that flows through us, through Mother Nature, through our brother sun, through everything. And like we can feel this energy if we just kind of stop. And I know this sounds hippy dippy, but it is real. We are all made of energy. We are made of electrons and energy and waves and stuff like that. And if we just take a second, put the phone down, and actually are present, we can feel that energy flowing through us. And so I love that you brought that up.
And remember, I don't know if you remember me telling you that through my struggles, that's one of the biggest things that I came to a very much of a conclusion is how much we are energy. We are all energy, and we carry negative energy, we carry positive energy. And one of the negative energies is social media, right? Because a lot of those reels you're watching have a tendency to make you feel some kind of way, right? And some people get super enraged, angered, and things like that. And a lot of those things aren't always real, right? And so when you are doom scrolling, part of the reason why you might not even be able to go to sleep is you're subliminally getting yourself emotionally wrapped up into something, right? And so now you're not allowing even your brain to slow down, because now you're throwing ideas. Like you come up with, and you come across one reel and it's about someone who got cancer, and then you're like, oh my gosh. And then you go up into another reel, it's about some fight, I mean, this is my reels. I go through the deaths, I go through the fights, I go through it's wild, all the things that I see within 10 scrolls, you know what I mean? But imagine the different emotions you go through on every damn reel.
Well, and this is perfect to bring us back to our guest, right? As our guest, David was just talking about that idea of reprogramming our brain, right? And social media is one of those ways that we are programming our brain. And that's the
Even
thing is,
stick
like, I was watching watching these reels, and I saw one of them that was just so like, you know what I mean? It just kind of it shocked me, and it's like this is not something that I would choose to watch, but it came up in this natural thing. And so because that was something that came in, it is stuck in my mind now, this visual. And it's like this isn't something that I ever wanted to see, but now it's something that is programmed in my mind. And so it's going to take me a long time to get that out of my mind. And so this is that idea, like, how are you programming your mind? Are you programming it to re-traumatize it with the PTS? As he was saying, I'm still so used to saying PTSD,
Same.
but but are you reprogramming it and re-traumatizing yourself with the things that you're watching? Or can you find a way to reprogram it and read out of good books, as the scriptures say, right? Read out of good books, or watching good videos, or having good conversations. Like, we literally, it's a computer, and we are training it by everything that we're putting in there. So are you retraining it more to traumatize yourself, or are you reprogramming it to feel peace and joy? And that is where the power of thoughts comes in, right? But it starts with what we are putting inside. And like, there was something that I think it was Prince or somebody that was saying, there was a video that I saw the other day, and it's like our brains were not meant to bring in so much of the world, but we are constantly trying to shove all of this stuff into our brain, but our brains weren't meant to process that much. And so if you are finding yourself stuck on the doom scrolling, you've got to be really careful, because there's so many things that get put in there that you normally wouldn't watch. And so then it starts desensitizing you, or it starts traumatizing you without even realizing it. So try and take those moments, at least, I've been doing, like Bryan's been doing, to just shut off from the electronics for a little bit and get outside and read some good books and connect with nature, or go and connect with other people. Take these moments to reprogram your brain, because our brain is a computer, like David was saying.
And
It is something that has to program.
we have a very addictive personality in general. A lot of folks and a lot of people only look at an addiction as like alcohol, drugs, porn, things like that. But there's a lot more of an addiction than a lot of people understand, right? And just like Stick Vet, when Adam came on, he had talked about
Travis.
Oh, sorry, Travis. Yeah, Travis.
We're doing great at names. Sorry, guys.
I know. I thought I said that with such assurance too. Like, yeah, you're right. Okay, so Travis. I don't know where the hell I got Adam from, but I wrote it down like I was like on point with that.
I think we're both getting tired. We might have to close up soon.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I need a refill on this coffee or something. But he had talked about they have a rule for some of his people that get spun up from watching politics. There's no news, for them. So if it takes that much, guys, you feel that something is really taking or absorbing a lot of your life, and it's not in a positive manner, maybe you need to think about redirecting your focus, turning that part off and turning something else on, and redirect yourself. Feeling that maybe you're using some negative energy and you can turn that into some positive energy and fill that void. You're sitting there doom scrolling for an hour and it's pissing you off. There's something else that can go fill your positive hour, for an hour. So, don't be afraid to walk away from something. I know, but that's the addictiveness in yourself, right? Like I got, like when I get up in the morning and take a shit, I got to have my phone with me and I got to scroll until my legs go dead. So many of us do that, right? But sometimes I think that you're wasting your energy on these little stupid little things like right here that are very small and you don't really have any control over. The best way to control it is turn it off and then redirect it. You know what I mean? So, and that's a hard thing to do. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say like it's easy or anything of the such. Part of it, I think what Marie said earlier, is realizing it. You have to have that realization. And once you can realize something, guys, it doesn't necessarily mean you can fix it, but you can start working on it, right? And then working to get it fixed. That's I think the best thing. But do you have anything else before we head on out, Marie?
No, this has been really good. Thank you, David, for coming on the show. Again, sorry that we were rushed, and really glad that you are focusing on that idea of reprogramming and not letting people stay stuck in the victim mentality. And I hope that we can all kind of work through that. That's such an important thing in the recovery community too, is just recognizing you're not a victim. You are not a victim. You have choices. You can overcome what is going on. Like we're saying, with the just little actions that you can take, like David was talking about, let's reprogram, if something's traumatizing, how can we turn it into something that can encourage us instead? How can we find the joys in the moment? How can we avoid being traumatized continually? I hope you guys can all find ways to do that in your own life. And if you have ideas of or experiences of what you are doing to help you retrain your own mind, please let us know. Reach out if you guys want to come and share with us what you're doing to heal out loud and to reintegrate back into finding peace in life. Please reach out to us. Come on our show, sliderbabe.com, access our other shows as well. And as always, we're just super glad and grateful that you guys are here with us. So thank you.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys and your patience. I know, like we said, we are a very raw show, and we don't edit it out. And sometimes we just blibber blabber and have fun. But we appreciate everybody. You know what I mean? If you stuck with us this long and hung out with us, we do appreciate your patience. Please, guys, just share the show. It doesn't hurt. We are getting a lot more traffic on the audio side. We've been averaging well over 100 and something listens a day. So that awesome. Is amazing. So when you're hitting over 100 and something listens a day, that's something to talk about, because I remember a long time ago when I was barely getting maybe 1 to 2 listens a day, maybe 3. So seeing these numbers are just a blessing, and thank you guys for whoever's out there listening. And you know, there's people out there that will message from time to time, and I apologize if I'm not great at getting them back. Sometimes on the social media side on Facebook, it's weird. Messages get kind of lost, and then you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, someone messaged me that long ago. I feel like an asshole. So just know that we're not forgetting about anybody out there. Also, we did take a little bit of a mental health break, so a lot of shit got lost during that time frame. If you did reach out to us in the last, towards the end of December through January, some of February, please reach back out to us. Get yourself on the show. We'd love to have you and have your story out there. And remember how we say it. Don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.